Legit, don't get scared.
Hey there guys, welcome back to a brand new Flick Pick live show. Not technically a late night edition because it's 6:45, but I'm getting old. But with all that said, how are you guys doing? Welcome back, and let's just talk about whatever you want to talk about tonight. This is an Ask Me Anything, so I think the title pretty much sums up what we're doing here. So just ask me some shit and I'll talk about it. If you want to talk about movies, that's fine. If you want to talk about life, that's also fine. But do you really want to take life advice from a guy wearing a kitty cat shirt? Of course you do, because you're watching YouTube right now. All right, so we got the first question here. And by the way, I first want to say there's two things I want to say. One, cinema feels like it's kind of dying right now. It feels like the dead zone, and it kind of makes me sad. And just the other night, me and my lady friend, my fiance, which sounds a little bit self-indulgent in my opinion, but we were trying to find a movie to watch. And every Friday night, I try to find a movie that I have not seen that I want to watch at home. Just eat some popcorn, some Sour Patch Kids, even though nowadays I'm eating Swedish Fish over Sour Patch Kids. I like them a bit more. It doesn't taste like you're eating sandpaper. It's just ripping off the enamel on your teeth. Try some Swedish Fish sometime. Just putting it out there. Anyway, I almost watched Saltburn, which I've heard a lot of people praise. I watched the trailer 3 times. I was like, okay, I see a quality movie there. I know. But it wasn't quite what I wanted. I just didn't want to watch these rich kids party in a mansion. I know there's some creepy shit that probably happens, but I just couldn't bring myself to watch it. It wasn't the right night for this film. And then I was feeling a little bit more junky, and I was like, how about a movie based on a video game? Because those always pan out to be phenomenal. And I almost watched Gran Turismo, and I have not seen this film yet. I'm sure it's a easy to watch, disposable, rainy day movie that you watch once and probably never go back to again. I almost watched this, and it looked intriguing enough, but then I said, you know what? No. I'm in the mood for a true story. I just fell on the floor. I'm in the mood for a true story survival flick because that's what we've been doing for like the last 6 months. If I can watch a movie where someone's trying to cling on to life and survive a crazy situation, that's kind of like my go-to movie nowadays. It makes me feel something. I take some gummies and I watch that shit. And the list is running dry at this point. And I finally watched a movie I've never seen before that came out in 2018, I believe, and it's called Adrift, starring Shailene Woodley. And I know what you're thinking, John, what are you doing with your life? I don't know. Look at me. Do I look like a guy who knows what I'm doing? Do I look like a guy with a plan? Absolutely not. I'm just a dog chasing a car. I wouldn't know what to do with it once I got it. But yeah, I watched Adrift. It was okay. I would give it like a 6.5 out of 10. I didn't hate my life watching it. I thought it was pretty well made. I thought the story was interesting enough. But really, the movie hinges on her illusions when she's out to sea too long. She goes a little bit unstable, and that's what made the movie the most interesting. So anyway, I didn't hate it. I'm glad I watched it. But yeah, if you guys have a recommendation for a good survival movie, let me know. I feel like I've seen every single one. There might be a few, but if you have a recommendation, please type it down below. All right, so let's get into the questions here. And we got some good ones. The first one, which I thought was a phenomenal first question here. Here it is from Breeze Cap, who says, "Hey John, dude, I wanted to know if you think film criticism is losing what it used to be with reviews saying mid and it wasn't terrible now." Well, yeah, we live in a society where anyone's afraid to give a real, honest, brutal opinion because we have to ride the line. And what is that line? It's right down the middle. You can't offend anyone. You can't overly appease anyone. You got to say, it was good. And if you say, it was good, no one can get mad at you. So in my opinion, when I see people reviewing movies nowadays, especially on TikTok or YouTube, it doesn't feel like anyone's giving a real review. It just feels like they're giving this placated, watered down version of a review. And to me, it's just like, why would you watch anyone review a movie? Because all they're going to say is what you want to hear. And if they hated it, they're never actually going to say that. They're going to say everything except for that, unless that is the popular opinion, right? If a new shitty movie comes out, of course everyone's going to crap on it. It's the easy thing to do. But if there's a movie that rides the line both ways, or there's a little bit of political backlash to be had if you say it wasn't very good, whatever that is, if you say a movie with one woman and it's bad nowadays, you're a sexist pig. And that's fine. You can call me what you want. I can live with that. But the one thing I don't want you to call me is a guy who likes terrible movies and doesn't know the difference. So yes, do I think film criticism is sort of dying? Yeah, I do. I think people are trying to appease audiences a little bit too much and placate to them, which is a little bit sad. And really, when I watch reviews from movies, and I'm not saying everyone, I still think there's plenty of people out there giving real honest opinions that aren't afraid of the backlash, which is nice. But it just feels like there's a certain level of disingenuousness today, more so than there used to be. I think you used to be able to have more of an opinion on the internet than you do now, without offending everyone. Sometimes what I do is the one platform.
Glad you're back, John.
Oh.
It's like you're Christian Bale in The Dark Knight Rises. You had to climb out of a pit and now you're back to save YouTube.
Thank you for the robot question. That's Mr. Belvedere. He's my robot butler. I keep him in a giant pickle jar down in my basement. Well, thank you for that. Yes, it does feel like I've crawled out of a prison cell, if you will. My back was broken, but some old guy punched me in it and magically fixed it. And I will go back to Gotham and then commit suicide by dragging a giant bomb out into the sea, and somehow I survive that. And then I go drink cocktails in Europe and no one notices me. But anyway, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, yeah, film criticism. It's fucking dead. Let's go to the next one, shall we? All right. The next one comes from Chad Hagen, who says, "Hey, John, what is your favorite franchise these days? Do you think there should be rebooted?" Okay, I know how to read. Not very good, though. Favorite film franchise? Ooh, I'm sure there's something. Nowadays, what would I say is my favorite film franchise? I'm sure somebody would say something like John Wick, but for me, when you have a film franchise, it's got to be bigger and larger than life. And John Wick, I think, is a good action movie, but it doesn't encompass everything that I love about cinema. To me, a great franchise, or I guess these are trilogies I'm thinking of now. Is there a great franchise now? I mean, what would people say? Fast and Furious? What would society deem as a quality franchise these days? That's a great question. Please share your favorite. I can't even think of one right now that I love that's continuing on in Hollywood. I'm sure somebody would say like the Saw movies, but really 98% of those are terrible. I like the John Wick movies, but really I like the first one and the fourth one the most. I thought 2 and 3 were kind of, as the kids would say, mid nowadays, which I hate that term. Don't you ever say mid to me. There's nothing worse in the English language than using the term mid to describe anything. Oh, God. All right. Jim Woods, how's it going, Jim? Hey, John, did you see The Killer? And let me tell you something about The Killer. I'm a Fincher fanboy, but I have not been able to bring myself to watch that film. And we almost watched it last night when I couldn't decide on a movie to watch. I watched the trailer. I think I've seen the trailer like 12 times now. And I just wish it was something else than what it is. I don't like that at one point it turns into him just being an assassin and then he's fighting people like this. Imagine if this film wasn't an assassin type character and it wasn't trying to be action packed, but really what it was a slow burn of a methodical serial killer who really is a sociopath and takes his time. And then there's the dynamic of this film that makes it really interesting would be, yeah, he's a serial killer, but during the day, he's like a family man. I guess that's the movie I wanted to see. Maybe I've just been watching Mindhunters again, and I just really wish they would have got to the third season where they could have really encapsulated more story with the BTK killer. I don't know. That's what I'm in the mood for, serial killers, because that's where I'm at in life. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next question before someone calls the cops. But no, I haven't seen The Killer yet. I'll get to it. But everyone that I trust that has seen the film say, it was okay. And whenever you say that about a new movie, how can I get it up to watch that? All right, the next one comes from, by the way, did I answer the franchise? Well, yeah, Nolan Batman franchise. Yeah, that's a franchise, I guess you could say, but I think of that as a trilogy more than a franchise. Is there really a difference between the two? A trilogy or a franchise? What really is the difference there? So yeah, I guess you could say franchise. Yeah, I love the Dark Knight Rises franchise. But you said recent, modern, a modern day franchise, and I just don't think there. I guess someone said Mission Impossible. I guess if you put a gun to my head and Tom Cruise was over there drinking baby blood, I guess that's what I would say. Even though I don't think Dead Reckoning was that good of a movie, I still found myself enjoying watching it on the big screen. So yeah, you know what? Maybe Mission Impossible. Hopefully part 2 is better of Dead Reckoning. All right, the next one comes from Claudio Rogajon. How's it going, buddy? I saw Silent Night. Very disappointing. Yeah, anytime you have, what's his name? Joe, what's B-rate RoboCop's name? Joe Kinnaman? Is that it? That's not it, is it? Anyway, I don't want to look at him as I just don't buy that guy's an action star. I don't buy him as a leading man. And I think if they had picked another leading man for that movie, now I haven't seen it yet, and it's directed by John Woo, which I grew up watching John Woo movies in the 90s. You had Face Off, you had Broken Arrow. God, John Travolta's quotes in Broken Arrow just get me going. No, this is a military operation. And what you don't know dick about. So yeah, I think they picked not a good lead role for Silent Night. I think if you wanted to sell audiences on this badass action movie, that was not the guy to do it. I can't look at him. He belongs as like a secondary character on some B-rate action series that would come out on Amazon Prime. And that's not a testament to his acting ability. It's just something about his screen presence. I just can't buy him as a leading man. I really try, and I thought he was a terrible pick for RoboCop, and I think he's a terrible pick for any other action movie where I want to buy into this guy being a badass. I just can't do it. I don't know. But I haven't heard anything good about that film. And that's why I have not been to the movie theater in weeks now. I want to go. I just wish Hollywood would make a movie that justifies going to the theater. All right. The next one comes from James Doshier, who says, "Hey, John, did you know Face Off is coming to 4K next week?" I remember hearing that it was coming to 4K, but I had no clue it was next week. But speaking of 4K movies, let me tell you a little gem that I recently purchased myself, which is it's not here yet. It's coming in the mail. Point Break, baby. It's hitting 4K in a few days. I bought the Steelbook from Best Buy. It was like $34. It comes out in like 2 more days. And yeah, best purchase I've made in a very long time. Plus, I like the way the Steelbook looks. It looks colorful and vivid. You got the ex-president's face on it. There's an explosion. Sold. Done. Can't wait. I'm hoping it looks good on 4K. I will savor the flavor on that and watch it in a few weeks, but I'll let you know what I think about the 4K transfer on that. But I definitely get Face Off on 4K. I mean, what? I would buy fucking Roadhouse on 4K. Which, by the way, yes, I am excited about the Jake Gyllenhaal version coming straight to Amazon Prime. All right. Claudio Rogajon says, Joel Kinnaman was good in the movie. It was just boring. Yeah, but don't you think if they had an actor who had a really good screen presence that you could buy, being an action star that had like charisma, even the thing about movies nowadays compared to the past was some of the scripts from films that I cherish and love, a lot of them are, if you really just read it on paper, you read the script for it, you'd be like, that's okay. But then you get an actor in there who brings charisma to it, and he elevates the pages of a screenplay. You know, he makes the most boring piece of shit dialogue. He elevates that just the way he delivers that line. He chews up the scenery. He has a personality. He has a tone. That's what's missing in Hollywood nowadays. They want to cast a generic guy to play generic role, and it's just instantly forgettable. I think that's one of the major problems. And I think Joel Kinnaman in that role did not add anything to it. But then again, I'm a guy who has not seen the movie. I just saw the trailer. But looking at his face in the trailer made me not want to watch the movie. So there you go. I might not be the only one with that same opinion. All right, the next one comes from... all right, here it is. George. How's it going, George? Hey, Georgie. Hey, John. Just saw Silent Night. was bad and Godzilla Minus One, which was good, are you going to see either? I would like to see the new Godzilla flick. I like how it's not this over-bloated piece of Hollywood shit. I like that it had like a modest, small budget for a Godzilla film. I like that it has it takes place in Japan. I like those things. I think that elevates it because that's what Godzilla has always been, or at least to me as. But with all that said, I know people are praising Godzilla Minus One as like a good Godzilla movie. And I get it. I just have to be in the mood to watch a kaiju movie. I just have to be in that right mood. And I'm just not in the mood to watch a big monster movie. No matter how good it is, no matter how good the new Godzilla movie is, I'm just not right now in the mood to watch a Godzilla movie. I have been in the mood for survival-esque movies, character studies, somber movies. I would give anything for the modern day equivalent to something like Silence of the Lambs. That's where I'm at right now in life. That's the kind of movies I want to watch. I want to see despair. I want to see thrilling darkness. I want to see a psychological thriller. That's what I need. That's what my body's craving of late. But with all that said, the other night we almost watched the movie Hook. But then again, technically speaking, everything I just said, I guess you could kind of say it happens in that movie. I mean, really think about it. Captain Hook wants to murder little kids. That's some dark, sinister shit if you really, really think about it. And maybe that's why I secretly like the movie so much. What does that say about me? I don't know. But yeah, that's the next movie to watch for the Christmas season. You rude, crude bag of pre-food chew, dude. Why don't you suck on a dead dog's wet nose? I mean, shit, they don't write lines like that nowadays. James Dozier says, can you name 6 films that define you? For me, it's Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, Silence of the Lambs, Pulp Fiction, and Castaway. Phenomenal picks, man. Yeah, I think I made a video actually specifically on this back in 2013, 2014. And I think a few of the movies I put in there was definitely like Batman Begins. I think I picked... did Nightcrawler come out? No, Nightcrawler had not come out yet. But I would say that definitely defines me these days. American Psycho for many reasons, which I don't want to delve into. I put Point Break in there as a movie that defines me. And really, I can sort of relate to a lot of these characters in these movies and their ideologies. And that's why those are the movies that define me. Like the reason I would pick Batman, for example, was because I can't stand injustice. I hate it. Right? But I think brutal tactics get the right results every once in a while, and I relate to Batman. But he has a moral code. I get it. I'm there. Or I can relate to Lou Bloom. I just want to go out and film crazy shit, and I'll do whatever it takes to get the shot. So I relate to a lot of different sociopaths. The next one comes from Akai Nai. How's it going, man? It's been a while. Hello, John from Rio. On a trip for work. Well, have fun down in Rio, man. Have a good time. Gonna go to the beach? Gonna hang out? What are you gonna do? Kevy Rez says, thoughts on Loki season 2. I didn't watch it. Is it out? Does it exist? I don't watch Marvel TV series anymore. I watched Ahsoka, and I thought that was the most bland series ever made relating to Star Wars. It made me want to fall asleep. How just tedious it was to get through, and not very eventful either. I remember, what is his name? Is it Ray? What's Punisher? He just died. Is it Ray Stevenson? His entire character through Ahsoka was he just stood by these fucking rocks for like 8 episodes. He just stood there talking to someone. Yes, something will happen soon. Let's keep standing here by these rocks for fucking what seemed like months on end. Like, do you leave this area? Do you go anywhere else? Did you film all of your scenes in one day and this is the best set they could give you to do it on that costs the least amount of money? But back to your question. No, I have not watched Loki. I know people like the first season. I watched some of the episodes. I think I'm at a point where the spin-off series just aren't quite what I want, tonally speaking. And I don't know if they're ever going to be, which is really unfortunate and kind of makes me sad. And with the money that they spend on these series and then you watch it, you just think to yourself, who is this for? it's not fun and colorful enough to be for children because they would get bored. But also, it's so childish at times where I'm like, this isn't for anyone over the age of like 17. So what is there to grasp onto? I'm trying, I'm reaching. And now I feel like with Marvel, we're on the B team of the B team. We're on the JV squad who aren't, how can I phrase this? I guess we've just hit rock bottom in terms of storytelling and characters. And also filmmaking. And also trying to bring some kind of artistic merit to the big screen. They're just making content. They're making filler. They're creating products that feel like they're artificially created by like an AI script generator. So yeah, I guess so there's my logic for not watching the series on Disney Plus. If you like it, hey, I'm all for it, man. I've tried and I can't do it anymore. Professor Marmalade, great name. Hello, John. Did you ever watch the Halo show? No, I did. I did not. I did not, man. Isn't it really unfortunate that we're getting things, technically speaking? I'm not trying to be negative, right? If you name something I love, I'll get naked and cover myself in baby oil and dance around. That's how excited I get. But I just find it odd. We're at a point where if you would have told hardcore movie nerds 20 years ago, hey man, one day there's going to be a streaming service, and you're like, what's a streaming service? And so you explain that aspect. And then once you get into the details of what the shows are going to be, you're like, yeah, we're going to have a series based on comic book heroes. We're going to have a series based on Star Wars characters. We're going to have an Obi-Wan Kenobi series one day, man. And you would go, oh my God, I can't wait to see that. And then you finally get it. And it's just the most bastardized, watered-down version of what it could be. And it's just, how could that not be disappointing? So going back to your question, which I forgot. Oh, the Halo. Yeah. Back in high school, me and my friends were Halo nerds, man. We would get together and play Halo for 7 hours straight. And then I remember watching the trailer for the series and thinking, wow, first of all, this is 10 years too late, but also, why does this just not feel like a Halo series? So yeah, I didn't watch it. Lee Kane Pettit says, missed you, Godzilla -1, getting hyped up. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. And the next time I'm in the mood for a big monster kaiju movie, man, I'll definitely watch it. You know they're coming out with another Godzilla movie early next year, the continuation of the American version, Kong versus Godzilla, but this time they're teaming up to fight some other thing. I don't know. I just find it odd. Like, these movies just come out and there's no conversation about them. I'm just like, this movie cost you $250 million and I didn't hear anything about it. Musty Review says, did you see the trailer for Lady Ballers? I did not. I did not see it. Skylar Wheelock, who asked the question earlier, and thank you for your comment, and comparing me to Christian Bale climbing out of a prison well to go back to save Gotham City. I wouldn't go that far, but I am halfway out of that well right now. My back does hurt. But you know what? I just felt like there was a void on YouTube of late of real opinions being shared. And I just, you know what? If I have to be a niche inside of a niche to give you my opinion, that's fine. I'll do it. But I just felt like I had to share it. All right. Dr. Pancha Mac. Is it Patrick Mac? Dr. Patrick Mac? Here it goes. Hey, John. Great to have you back. I rewatched Band of Brothers for the third time. In my opinion, the best miniseries ever made. What is your favorite miniseries? Band of Brothers is pretty damn good, man. I'm not gonna lie. I loved that. I love the scene in basic training or boot camp where they're running and they just ate spaghetti and they puke it all up. That's great. Well, I don't know miniseries. I'd have to think on that for a minute. But I will say, one, I just mentioned it earlier, and I'm so disappointed we're not going to get another season, but Mindhunters. Man, that to me was what I wanted more of. Especially that second season with the serial killer, Wayne Williams in Atlanta. Oh, God. Those young boys shouldn't have been out there. I don't know what they were doing. But right now we're actually rewatching Game of Thrones. I've seen that probably, I think this might be my fourth rewatch, but I ran out of shit to watch. Like, what's a great series out right now? Give me a recommendation. I'm all ears. I started watching Yellow Jackets. I think that's on Paramount Plus. We started watching that. I watched the pilot episode, and I think more or less it's like the modern day equivalent to Lord of the Flies. I just don't know how these teenage girls get to the point where they're wearing like Viking helmets made out of twigs, eating people. It's just like, what kind of weird subculture did you develop? But then again, I don't know what teenage girls do nowadays. Maybe that's what they're doing for fun. I couldn't tell you. But yeah, so I'm rewatching Game of Thrones right now because I'll tell you why. When it comes time to eat and sit down and watch something, I don't have 3 hours to search anymore. I have to have a backup plan. So when I'm eating, I can watch something. So Game of Thrones is currently what I watch when I eat. All right. And I think Ned Stark's days are numbered. Connor says, nothing, but thanks for the super chat, Connor. The Rat Party says, what little things in life get you through the day? That's a great question. And I think a lot of people need to focus on the little things in life because that's what really counts. And I'll tell you, my little things in life that get me through the day are, as Peter Pan would say, my happy thoughts. In our bedroom, we have an elongated bedroom, so it makes the perfect viewing environment. So we have a projector that shoots across our room on this blank wall at the end of our bed. And keep in mind, our bedroom's like probably 20 feet, 25 feet long. And so we lay in bed. I dim the lights. I have some RGB color changing lights in my room. I dim all the lights down so they're a nice, warm, orangey glow, right? We might light a candle, whatever, get a little crazy. We lay in bed and I have my projector going. We have snacks. It's so relaxing. It's so safe. It's so secure. And as some would say, it just might be magical and mystical. Oh, and plus, because I'm an old sack of shit nowadays, don't let this false demeanor fool you. Inside, I'm crumbling apart. I'm an old man. I'm withered. I'm battered, and I'm torn. But what I do is I lay on a heating pad, and oh god, that just opens up my lower back, and my lumbar loves it, man. So that's one little thing in life I quite enjoy. Also, another thing I do on a weekly basis, just because society has withered me down to a point where I just need unadulterated entertainment. So I watch wrestling religiously on Mondays and Fridays, and when there's a pay-per-view, I dedicate my whole Saturday to it. But on Monday night, I'm watching Raw's War, or it's not called Raw's War anymore. It's just called Monday Night Raw. But yeah, I sit down and I just release as I watch it. That sounds weird. I don't physically well, maybe I do. I don't know. But I watch wrestling. And that to me is just so unadulterated and stupid and over the top. But that's what my mind needs. And I like the spectacle and the theatricality and the athleticism of it all. So it's not always good, but it's like my guilty pleasure. And the next one comes from Jeffrey Roy, who says, hope you eventually circle back to that Saltburn screener. Saltburn is a gift you give yourself. Well, good to know. Yeah, I want to watch it. I've heard great things about it. I don't know. I don't know if I can look at his face that long. I don't know what it is. There's something about it. It's like shot in like 4:3 aspect ratio, which I thought was interesting. I'll get to it one day. I just needed more of a spectacle event. Movies for Life says that Madame Web trailer. Yikes. Maybe we were too harsh on Morbius. Yeah, isn't it funny? A Madame Web trailer comes out and then just no one ever talks about it again. And you would think like hardcore comic book enthusiasts would be loving that. And maybe some of them do, maybe 7 of them do on Reddit somewhere. But I forgot that existed until you just mentioned it. And then you had a Kraven the Hunter trailer that came out. Once again, these are movies that I never thought we would see. I never imagined back in 1994 reading a comic book, a Spider-Man comic book, with Kraven the Hunter going, oh, I bet one day they make a movie solely based on Kraven the Hunter. Hell, I was just hoping we got a Spider-Man movie. But now we're at the point where we're getting these movies and they just aren't very good, which begs the question, why are you making them? I don't know. Claudia Rogajon says, "Have you ever been hard boiled, or have you have you ever seen hard boiled?" I've not been hard boiled, but then again, I don't know what that would mean nowadays. Have you ever seen Hard Boiled or The Killer, classic John Woo films? I've seen parts of Hard Boiled. You've mentioned this movie a million times. Actually, I have seen Hard Boiled. That's a lot. No, have I? If I swear to God, I've seen that on HBO when I was probably a teenager, but I have not seen it in a very long time, and I haven't seen The Killer yet. No, I have not. The next one comes from Kung Fu Hot Dog, who says, "John, do you still use cob lights in your studio?" Cob lights. What's cob, C-O-B lights? What's that mean? Cob lights? I don't know what that means, man. In my studio, I use like 20 different variations of RGB lights. I got like little puck lights in my shelves here. I got like these bar lights right here that change colors. I have some spotlights up there. Right above my head, I have another little RGB light that I can control with an app. So yeah, I use a lot of RGB lights. Rodney Brushwood 2 reviews. Well, that's quite the name. I work in a high school, and I have discovered kids now don't watch good movies, and I keep hearing the crap opinion that there are no good movies before 2000. What? You're telling me children nowadays are saying there's no good movies before the year 2000? That's where all the good movies are. So I think what you need to do is just put your hand around all of their necks and squeeze it until they go limp, and then you just let go. And if they wake up, that's up to them. No, don't do that. I'm just kidding. Just wake up. That's really unfortunate. You know, I feel like nowadays most kids just watch what Netflix tells them to watch, which sometimes that might be a good thing. But sometimes I feel like they're just watching the made for Netflix Ryan Reynolds movies, and they think, "Oh, that's what a movie is." Red Notice. That's what a movie is. And that's everything that a movie is not supposed to be. So yeah, you know, sometimes I scroll the comments and I look at what people think of like what I would deem a terrible movie or a bad movie trailer, and I just read the comments and people go, "Oh, I can't wait to see that." And I go, "Fuck. Humanity is doomed." Justin says, "Remember when Frank Darabont used to make movies? I do indeed, and I wish that man would come back. Remember when he was like in charge of The Walking Dead for the first season and it was really good? Yeah, I wish that guy would come back." Actually, does he have? Let's see. Does he have anything in production? No, is he done? I don't know. I can't find anything right now. Yeah, I wish some of the old time directors would definitely come back, but give me another Shawshank Redemption give me another Shawshank, give me another Green Mile. Just give me something that makes me feel something, Hollywood. That's all I'm asking for. But I don't want to be too negative. Or then again, is that what you come here for? I don't know. Carter Lovejoy, how's it going? Have you seen the new Alexander Payne movie, The Holdover, starring Paul Giamatti? Hey, Spider-Man, I'm going to come over there and I'm going to get you. You hear me, Spider-Man? I'm going to get you. I'm hoping to see it at my local indie theater next week, and I haven't seen it yet, man. I've heard a good... I think... Did my buddy see that? Actually, I think I have a buddy who mentioned to go see that. He said it was maybe his favorite movie of the year. I think he said that. So I haven't seen it yet, but I definitely want to check it out. Night King 01, how's it going? I saw Silent Night last night. It's not as bad as some people are saying, but the build-up to the actual action scenes take too long, and I think the silent aspect works against the film. Still good to see John Woo excited for his remake of The Killer. Yeah, I haven't seen it, man. I don't think Silent Night's probably a movie I'll ever waste my time watching. I've gotten finicky in my old age. And for me to sit down and watch a film, I at least have to be somewhat intrigued. And if everyone says it's bad, or if I can just look at the trailer and go, "Oh, that doesn't look good," I just can't justify watching it. I don't know. So I won't really give too much more of an opinion on it, even though I talked about it exclusively for 25 minutes earlier. which makes me a hypocrite, but that's okay. Wild Hog 84 says, in the new Planet of the Apes movie, do you think the astronauts return from space like the originals? Who do you think should play the main astronaut? You know what, Wild Hog, judging by the trailer that I saw, I think that would be the concept that they need to go to, because we got the prequel, right? We got the prequel movies. We got the fundamental. Okay, I buy that now there's a Planet of Apes and then they come back in 2,000 years or whatever. And now the planet is apes. And I think that's the next logical step in evolution. So that's what I'm hoping. Who do I think should play the main astronaut? I don't know. Isn't this already cast? Doesn't this already exist or something? I don't know. Or is this going to be how the next one ends off? I did the trailer come out? I think I watched a trailer for this. So is it going? Are you saying it's going to end off like that? And then the next installment would be 2,000 years in the future or whatever? I don't know. As long as it's not Mark Wahlberg, I guess we'll be okay. Hey, monkey, what are you doing over there? You want a banana or something? Hey, that's not very nice, monkey. I don't know. Make Ryan Gosling the astronaut. There you go. That's what I'd like to see. Evil Haiti Eye says, what songs do you listen to? My favorite is Mary on the Cross. I've been listening to Christmas music lately, especially from Home Alone, or like some John Williams score from Home Alone. That's what I've been in the mood for lately. But when I'm in the gym, I listen to like Kill Switch Engage or Rammstein or podcast. But also I enjoy synthwave music, or also I enjoy really shitty 1980s music, specifically like John Parr. If you don't know who that is, that's okay. Very upbeat 80s music, like rock ballads of sorts. That's what I enjoy. They get me going. The next one comes from Mika Claiborne, who says, if you were to perform a post-mortem on the MCU, who do you think killed it? There's obviously a multitude of reasons, but what would you say was the biggest reason for the demise of post-Endgame? Well, I think that in itself is like we blew our load with Endgame. We got rid of the heart and soul of what we developed with the MCU, and we had great actors playing great characters, and these were actors who felt like the character. You couldn't imagine any other actor encompassing who Iron Man was, besides Robert Downey Jr. And I think once we got to the B team, now we're talking about Falcon and who are we talking about? I mean, Ant-Man's okay. I like me some Paul Rudd. But really, I think the movies themselves got worse, right? I mean, besides Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I would be hard-pressed to pick another great Marvel film since Endgame. And I know someone's going to say like Shang-Chi or something, but for me, that was okay, but that wasn't a groundbreaking comic book movie by any means. So yeah, I just think we're on the B team. And then also I feel like making quality films that feel more... The way you make a great comic book movie is you make the audience forget that they're watching just a comic book movie because the emotions are so good. You feel like there's something at stake here and the characters are so phenomenal that it doesn't need to just be backed up by some guy wearing spandex and a cape. Like you're focused on the story. Now it's like the opposite. We're focused on the spectacle, which now it just looks like everything's in front of a green screen. And now the story and the character and the emotions have taken a back seat. But also we're just focusing on, I think, lackluster stories and characters. And then again, you look at something like Thor: Love and Thunder and you go, wow, Ragnarok was great. And then you make this. What a waste of Christian Bale, So I think the movies themselves are just getting worse. And I blame that on Hollywood. I blame that on the screenwriters. I blame that on the executives. And, I'm hoping with something like the Marvels, where they did everything they could to appease people. They made this movie. No one saw it. Not many people liked it. And now maybe they'll finally go, oh, you know what? We need to go back to what was working. and that's telling real stories. I'm hoping maybe that happens and Hollywood wakes up, but then again, I don't know. Makes you wonder. The next one comes from Billy M, who says, how many subs to make a living on YouTube nowadays? Man, that's a loaded question, and I don't think there's a great formula. I think really if you can make a living on YouTube, depending on what niche you're in, I mean, maybe you can make it with 30,000 subscribers. Maybe you can make it with 50. You know, maybe if you have 20,000 and you have a podcast and you have a Patreon and you bust your ass, maybe you could make a living. Really, for me, I would say 100,000 is sort of the golden ticket number for a YouTube channel. But also, it's not just a YouTube channel nowadays. That you have to let your audience trickle down to other social media outlets. You know, sometimes if you have a good Instagram following and you have maybe 10,000 people on YouTube, well, heck, you can make a living with just doing Instagram. You can make a living on TikTok now. Like, you don't need YouTube anymore. But if you want to specifically talk about YouTube, I would say 100,000. If you're talking about movies, good luck, because this is a very saturated market. But then again, if you have a unique opinion, hey, maybe you'll stand out. For me, you know, it just depends, right? So I think if on YouTube you're talking about being an entrepreneur and you have a small business and you have links to everything down below and you can sell a course, the sky's the limit, and you don't need a lot of subscribers. You know, I see people on YouTube who have like a small business, but they have a very strong niche following. And the way YouTube ad revenue works is when it comes to like entertainment side of YouTube, that's the least worst paying ad revenue you'll ever make. You could have a video with 100,000 views and you made dog shit on it. But if you're talking about like real estate or banking or investing or mortgages or giving investment advice, those ad rates pay significantly more. For example, what I would make I could make like $4 per 1,000 views with what I do on YouTube if you're just talking about like ad rates. But if I was talking about like the stock market, I could make like $30 per 1,000 views, for example. That's how much more lucrative it is. But I don't want to give it investment advice because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I say invest in physical media because what you spend today, it'll be worth a fraction of that in just 3 years. That's my investment advice. But you know what? I'll tell you what it is. It's an emotional investment in myself. And for that, it's priceless. There you go. I knew I could turn that around. All right, the next one comes from Dave, who says, hey, John. And by the way, guys, I'm sorry. I'm 30 minutes behind on the questions. So I'm going to start talking a little bit quicker to answer these. So let's hurry up. Hey, John, curious if you're going to check out Godzilla -1. I will check it out. I just was not in the mood to watch a Godzilla movie this week. I'm coming to Fort Wayne for a metal show at Piers tonight, coming from Marion. Well, hey, man, I haven't been to Piers in like 10 years. It's a local venue here in my town where they play like music. But yeah, man, I'll check out the movie at some point, but have fun at the metal show. Who's playing? The next one comes from Owie, who says, have you seen Blackbird on Apple TV? Good series. Also, are you reviewing Godzilla -1? If I see the movie and I like it, maybe I'll do a quick out of the theater reaction kind of video to it. I still have not seen Napoleon. And the reason is I don't want to watch that bastardized version. I just want to wait until it comes home so I can watch it, that director's cut. But anyway, and I will review that. I will wait for that. I have not seen Blackbird on Apple TV. James Dosher says, which do you think is worse, the Michael Bay Transformers movies or the last Fast and Furious movie? Oh, I think the first Michael Bay Transformers movie is okay. I actually think the third one's kind of a CGI puke stain, but mildly watchable. So yeah, I think the Fast and Furious movies at this point are just the most regurgitating, inducing trash crap from Hollywood puked out into our eyeballs, where Vin Diesel looks like a giant baked potato. And just that one scene, what was it in the last movie that came out? I did watch that, and I forgot that movie existed. And Jason Momoa in that movie was just I don't know what the fuck was happening. Anyway, that scene where Vin Diesel flips over a car, I just couldn't. I was like, I'm done. I think we're done here. I think we're truly done. And we were done 7 movies ago, but now we're really done. So I don't know if I'll ever watch another Fast and Furious movie, just out of principle. Claudia Rogan says, Joel Kinnaman was good. The movie was just boring. He's a mute in the movie, so it's all face acting. So you're telling me you got Joel Kinnaman to do face acting. First of all, this is not a face I want to look at, let alone without him saying anything. I just can't look. I don't know what I just can't look at him. It's like Sam Worthington, you know? It's like, okay, I can look at him as a blue avatar, but I just can't look at him any other way. Does that make sense to anyone? This guy, 9947, says, why did you keep moving houses over the past decade? You meet new people, you go new places. You know, I worked from home for a decade, so I had the option to go where I kind of wanted to. And if there was a reason to go, I would try it out. And then I did, and I always kind of tried my best. And then I would give any place I went a couple years. And I would say, okay, let me give this place 2 years to grow on me. And I just realized I didn't like a lot of places. And eventually the more you move around, you get more picky and you realize what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So really I did one big tour around America to figure out where I wanted to be. And you know what? I can say at the end of the day, I've tried a lot of everything and this is what works best for me. So I have no regrets. I'm going to get that tattooed right here. No regrets. So that's why I'm one of those people that I don't force a situation that I don't want to be in because I refuse to live in misery. That's one thing about me I won't ever do. I won't live in misery. I will change it somehow, some way. So that's why. I just figured out what worked best for me. Because I've seen too many people in life waste their whole lives withering away being miserable. And the next one comes from Gus Babington, who says, would you rather snuggle with Jake Sully in a tree or drink Pepsi with CM Punk in a wrestling ring? I'm going to tell you why. The wrestling ring one sounds really cool. Now, if you would have said drink a beer with Stone Cold Steve Austin, oh, hell yeah. But but then again, Jake Sully, man, I get to go to Pandora. That would be a magical experience on another planet. So I'm probably going to sip, what'd you say, tree piss or something? Oh, snuggle. I got to snuggle with him? Oh, you didn't say that. That's fine. I can do that. Chad Hagen says, Reacher Season 2 on Prime. I haven't seen Reacher Season 1. I'm sorry, just haven't. The 50% Doctor Who podcast says, John, who do you hate? Oh, John, why do you hate Elf? Because the shtick of Will Ferrell acting like a 6'3" giant special needs child just has gotten so old to me that it hits a pinnacle in the movie Elf where he acts like a giant baby child. And I just can't look at it. That's why. I think that's it. I think that's the reason. Buddy the Elf just doesn't do it for me. I don't know why. Like, give me Home Alone. Give me Jingle All the Way. I will watch those films. But something about Elf has just never translated and hit home with me. It doesn't feel genuine enough. You know, but when I see Arnold Schwarzenegger dressed up as the Turbo Man fighting Sinbad over a plastic doll, which is a shitty action figure in itself. No kid wanted a giant Barbie doll-size action figure made out of plastic. We didn't want that. We wanted the 6 to 8 inch figures that you could play with and articulate and move around and make little environments or take them in the bathtub. No one wants a giant plastic doll named Turbo Man. Like, if that was a miniature figure, I would buy into it. And I get that they needed something big and more grandiose in the movie, but God, that always bothered me so much. Am I the only one? Raven says, John, I love your streams. Well, thank you. All right. Thank you for that. It does mean a lot. I'll tell you, I'll keep it real with you guys. I made a Black Friday video. That was probably the quickest, easiest version of a Black Friday video I've ever made. I shot that whole thing in like 35 minutes. And I probably edited it for maybe an hour. And I put that out on YouTube after not putting a video on my FlickPick channel for 4 months. And then that new Black Friday video that I just slapped together got like 40,000 views within a few days. And that shows me that the human spirit is still alive. And that did mean a lot to me, guys. And then on my last live show, within a couple days, this thing hit 10,000 views. And I was like, wow, people want to watch this? Okay. So I felt like I had to just continue. It inspired me. You guys inspired me deep down inside. And I thank you for that. All right. The next one, before we get all touchy and feely, we'll save that for later. The next one comes from Helicopter Kicks, who says, Flick, you're such a goon. Any 4K releases you're looking forward to besides Point Break and Face Off? What else is coming out on 4K, man? I'm almost to a point where all of my favorite movies have hit 4K. I'm trying to think if there's something that hasn't. What's coming out in 4K? What's a good catalog title coming out to 4K in the coming months? Oh, I'll tell you one. Nightcrawler. I need Nightcrawler on 4K. That's the next big one I would like. Night King of One says, I don't understand how you relate to Patrick Bateman, considering the whole point is that he's not relatable. He's a shell of a man imitating others to try to fit into society because he has no personality of his own. He's also a serial killer. Well, yeah. Yeah, I think you kind of answered the question, though. Isn't it at some point that we're all trying to play a part to fit into society? But the thing I appreciate about Patrick Bateman is he's aware of that. He is self-aware enough to see that, and he understands that's how society works. And that's what I appreciate about him. Also, some of the internal scenes in American Psycho where he's having like this internal conflict with himself, and just the smallest minute details that matter to no one else truly affect him. Oh, I've been there. That happens to me on a daily occasion, or a daily basis. So I relate to him in many ways. All right, the next one comes from. Plus, I have to return some videotapes. This is the best excuse to get out of any situation, and I still use it today. The next one comes from Claudia Rogajon, who says, I keep saying Sons of Anarchy, watch it. I know, I will. I just can't look at Ron Perlman sell meth. James Dosher says, do you enjoy the movie Scrooge from 1988? I was just talking to my lady friend about this, and we kind of both agreed that we don't like movies based on the Christmas Carol. I feel like I'm burnt out on it. Bruce Cook says, rewatch Band of Brothers. I've rewatched Band of Brothers just like a year ago. I've seen it recently. I love it. I think it's great. And speaking of that, I just watched Saving Private Ryan. My lady friend or fiance, or well, just whatever you want to say. I don't think she had seen it before. So we were on a Tom Hanks kick and we watched that. Robert Kopp says, how do you feel about CM Punk's return? Listen, I'm excited for wrestling again. And it's been a long time because it just, in the last couple of years, it didn't feel like we had men wrestling. It didn't feel like we had superstars in the ring. Like larger than life characters who could just chew up that scenery and go. And you cared about what they were saying and what they were doing because they had such conviction when they were doing it. And plus, god damn, Randy Orton looks buff as shit, covered in baby oil. But anyway, with all that said, yeah, I'm excited that CM Punk returned because that just shows that wrestling is to a point where they're going to do whatever it takes to appease the audience now. They're going to throw as much money at it as they can with Vince McMahon being out of it, and we're sort of not at the dictatorship of one personality. Oh, I'm so excited about wrestling. I'm really, like, the fact that we're having these big returns, it reminds me of like being a kid and watching this shit back in like 1999 thinking, oh man, you don't know what's going to happen next. So yeah, I'm excited for it. Michael Parton says, hey John, are you planning on seeing Aquaman and the Last Kingdom? Fun story. Would you like to hear a fun story? Of course you would. We're only 24 minutes behind on the question, so why not, right? And thanks to all 373 of you beautiful bastards for watching this live stream. I do thank you. And now I want to take this moment to give you guys what I call a digital hug. Are you guys ready? Here it goes. Shh. Shh. I love you. Shh. Okay, that's from me to you. And don't tell anyone about it. That was a special moment just between us. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. So what was the question there? Oh, yes, my story about Aquaman and the Amber Heard taking a shit on Atlantis. So for like 2 weeks leading up to me proposing to my girlfriend at an Airbnb like 2 hours away, I said, hey, you have to take this day off of work because I have an early press screening of the new Aquaman movie and we have to go see it. That was my excuse for her to take off work. I know. Could I picked a shittier movie? I don't know. So anyway, the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, why don't you watch Bringing Out the Dead with Nick Cage? It's a great psychological thriller. Is that the one with Martin Scorsese where he's an ambulance driver, EMT? I don't think I've ever watched the movie. I really don't. So if that's the movie you're referring to, that is on my to-do list. And one day I will get around to watching it. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I think it even takes place in Hell's Kitchen. Or maybe I'm making that up. Night King 01 says, John, Streamlabs. I'm looking at Streamlabs, man. What's going on? If something missed, it's a technical glitch, but I will get it sorted out. But I'm looking at it right now. Let me scroll down just to make sure. Oh, I've been reading. Yeah, I'm just 20 minutes behind on the questions, man. So just it's okay. I'll get there. Hello, Pharaoh Lovely. How's it going? And thanks for being a member. It's all about love here. It's all about love and the truth. And if you can't have both of those things, then what are we doing? Okay? Shit. Hang on. Sorry. Oh, the questions are popping up quick. Okay. Avenger 59577 says, what do you think about influencer boxing? I don't know. I don't care. I don't watch it. But hey, I mean, I think it's a good money-making technique. I mean, if you got some dudes who want to box and make a lot of money doing it, and while they're sort of holding their punches, or pulling their punches, I guess you could say, whatever. If people want to watch that shit. But the weird thing is, there's not a lot of money in it as much as you think there would be, because when you're someone like Jake Paul or Logan Paul, the majority of your demographic are kids who don't have any money and they don't really give a shit about boxing. They just want to buy your watered down Kool-Aid drink Prime, which I did try. It's okay. So they don't really have a lot of money to invest in watching a $50 boxing match on pay-per-view. So I don't know who they're really catering to, because general audiences don't give a shit about these people boxing. So I think it's a kind of a weird niche, but there's definitely money to be made, I guess. Seth Hall says, hey, John, I missed your last live show. Congrats on the engagement. Well, thanks, Seth. I got married during your absence last time. You picked out a random movie for me to watch from your shelf. Care to do it again? You know what, Seth? Just for you, man, and congratulations on getting hitched. I'll go pick out one random movie back there on the shelf, and we'll talk about it momentarily. Where do I want to go back there on that shelf? Hang on. There's actually something new I could talk about, but I'll go pick a random movie instead. Hang on. I'm going to close my eyes as I do this. Okay, the random movie of today is, sorry to disappoint, but it's going to be It. The new It movie from 2017, I think this was. I didn't hate this movie. I thought it was a really good modern day take on a horror film. I thought it at least tried and it went for it. I liked the child actors in this film. I thought they all did a pretty good job. I think part one of this, just like the original made-for-TV movie, was the superior of the two movies. Also, I did want to say one thing about this movie, and it's going to be a little weird, and I know that, but the scene where all the kids are jumping off the reservoir cliff into the water, they're all wearing what looks like diapers. And I get what they were going for, because you don't listen, when it comes to kids exposing them in their underwear, I get it. It's touchy. It's weird. But man, it looks like they were wearing like 14 layers of like underwear when they jumped into the water. So it looks like they're wearing like Huggies. I always thought that was such a weird thing. But anyway, so It on 4K. Okay, horror movie. And so congrats on getting married, man. The next one comes from Rodney Brushwood 2 Reviews. Man, that name just rolls right off the tongue, man. I'm telling you. I'm rewatching Star Wars, and I've realized the originals are the only great ones through episode 7 and 3, though episode 7 and 3 are good too. That's a very, very, very subjective opinion. You know what? Yeah, obviously. The original trilogies, you feel like when you watch them, there's some kind of level of craftsmanship happening there. And I'll be honest with you, watching all the watered down Star Wars content, and that's what I call it, content of recent years, it makes me appreciate the prequels even more. Now, I think episode 2 is bad. I just do. I think it's a bad movie. But Phantom Menace episode 3, okay. Like I can watch those on a rainy day. But yeah, so I mean, when you get to a point in society or life where you start appreciating the prequels because everything you're getting now is like 10 times worse, that to me is like mind-boggling. Chris Solomu says, "Are you happy with the new job, John? I hope it's paying more than YouTube." I don't think it technically pays more than YouTube, but man, sometimes it's nice just to like not rely so much on an algorithm, you know? It's a little more consistent, so you can kind of plan a little bit. Now, do I hate dealing with all the people I do on a daily basis? Absolutely. Does it get very stressful and time consuming? And every day when you have a game plan, does it just get fucked up instantly and everything in your whole day changes? Have I grown a few more gray hairs over the course of the last 6 months? Yes. But it's helped me in many other ways. And I think if anything else, if I continue doing what I'm doing now for a year or two, or if I come back to YouTube, at least I can say I tried something different and now I know what works best, because that's the motto of this live stream. You keep moving and figuring out what works best for you. And once you find it, you stick to it. Don't live in misery. That's the motto of today's live stream, everyone. But with all that said, let's talk about movies. The next one comes from, so am I happy? Generally speaking, probably not. But am I pretty good at what I do? I think yes. I think like it gives me enough flexibility that no other 9-to-5 job would. So I don't know what else I would do. The next one comes from Kai Adi Mundez Throbbing Head. I love that, man. That is beautiful. Hey, John. I've been watching you since high school, class of 16. You've got me through a lot of tough times. Been watching your old gym vlogs lately. Now that I've started lifting again, it's glorious. Oh, nothing's more beautiful than the pump, man. Nothing will make you feel more like a man than when all of the blood in your body is pulsating through your biceps and they look like they're about to explode. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, fun story. I have recently just got back into working out. Now, hear me out for a second. I don't want to get too crazy, but I've now went to the gym 2 times, and I have not been to the gym in over a year, at least a year. And I've now went back 2 times, and it felt good. I missed it. I missed that pump. Now, my pump isn't quite what it used to be, but I can sense that it's on the horizon. We're getting too into this. But no, it felt good. It felt good to kind of go in there and just listen to some music. And I really noticed it was almost therapeutic. I forgot what I missed so much about the gym. And it's not just building muscle and all that bullshit. It's not that, man. It's a great outlet to get your frustrations out. And I think I needed that, So yeah, listen, let me warm it up for you. There it is. It's still there. I'm telling you guys. Okay. Let's put that away. All right. I don't want to break the YouTube guidelines or whatever the fuck they are. I don't Are you allowed to flex on YouTube anymore? Probably not. All right, the next one comes from Christopher Abigit. Some kind of fruit company. John, love the pod. Have you seen Band of Brothers? We are talking a lot about Band of Brothers, and I think that's because that shit just released on Netflix. But I had what's known as HBO for many fucking years. So I was watching Band of Brothers back in the early 2000s when that stuff came out. So yes, I've seen Band of Brothers, and I love it. Tommy Bullard says, and thanks for listening to the live stream, man. I call it a podcast. I call it a live stream, whatever you want to call it. You know, if you're just listening to it, then I guess it's a podcast. Tommy Bullard says, finally got Oppenheimer on 4K. Well, I got that shit right. Dude, you see how quick I grabbed that? That's how quick So I got this on 4K. Oppenheimer for me is a movie I need to wait and give it some more time before I rewatch it. I liked it. I just don't know about rewatchability on this one. Does anyone hear me out, right? Don't get angry at me, all right? Good movie, but I'm trying to like pinpoint sequences and moments in this movie I want to revisit. And like, other than the countdown moment, I'm trying to think what I want to see again in this movie. Though I enjoyed it the first time, I don't know if rewatchability is going to be heavy with this one, but I'm hoping it is. The next one comes from Sean M, who says nothing, but thanks for the super chat, Sean. Lord Fight says, I don't know, John, about you, but it feels like it's the end of an era. Black Friday is no longer fun. Movies are no longer exciting, etc. I miss the fun that we had. Maybe this is just what getting old is like. And you know what? I thought to myself that very same question, and I pondered it many, many nights, long nights, looking up at a full moon as the bonfire in front of me kept me warm, with only my thoughts to accompany me. And I thought about this, and no. I'm not getting older. Do I know what I like and what I need and what matters to me more now than ever in life? Yes, I think getting old, I've discovered those things about myself. But no, movies and content, generally speaking, or at least movies. I think TV series are where they should be for the most part. But movies, yeah, man, we're sort of in a decline. And that's not to say every once in a while we don't get a glimmer of hope. But they're getting worse. They're in a downward spiral right now. And I want to talk about one thing I watched, a trailer I watched. It was the new Furiosa trailer, the Mad Max franchise. And I love Mad Max Fury Road. I would deem it one of the best action films in the last 20 years, or maybe 10 years. And I think that Furiosa trailer was cool, and I'm excited to see it. And I think the actors, Chris Hemsworth, and I'm forgetting Furiosa, different eyes over here. Great actress, Queen's Gambit. She was great in The Menu. But even watching that, didn't it just feel like something was off? Like, it didn't look like it was shot on location like Fury Road was to some degree. I could almost feel everyone standing in front of a studio with like sand on the floor with a green screen behind them. And I'm hoping it's just the trailer or some of the close-up shots that we saw because it's still in post-production. But it looked a little more CG'd than I was hoping it would look, because the first one, they were very sparse with what they did with CG. They still wanted that practicality to some degree, but this new one, maybe they're saving the money shots for later. But with all that said, where was I going with that? I don't know. But Mad Max Fury Rosa, more like Mad Max Girl Boss. But then technically speaking, I'm not going to go on the whole debate about female empowerment in Hollywood. For me, if you make a good female empowerment action film, cool, thank you. You gave me a great character. But if you make a mediocre one and your only marketing tactic is female empowerment, then fuck you. No, you should. A good character is a good character. Ripley from Aliens, great character, great antagonist. But Mad Max Fury Road was more of it was a Furiosa movie. That was what Mad Max Fury Road was. It wasn't a Mad Max movie. That was a Furiosa movie. So saying that the new one is all about Furiosa and that turns you off a little bit, I would disagree with that, because that's what Fury Road was. Now, do I wish Tom Hardy could have a role or something like that? Yeah, but I think that's kind of the Chris Hemsworth character this time around, you know? So also, I think if they made another Mad Max movie, bring back old man Mel Gibson. You know, if this movie at the very end could cut to like modern day, the apocalypse in modern day after the events of everything that's happened previously, and they just had a cameo of Mel Gibson, like standing on the side of the road somewhere with some badass car, and he gets in it and just looks up at the sunset and drives away. That would be phenomenal. But anyway. All right, the next one comes from. I need to cover these a little bit quicker. I'm sorry. Robert Rock says, "Hey Flick, did you ever get around to watching my movie Neon? If so, what did you think?" I didn't watch it, man. I know it's the Amazon Prime movie. I think I tried to search it one day. I couldn't find it. It's on Amazon Prime. I know it's an adult film entertainment documentary. I have not watched it, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Send me a screener or something. Come on. James Docher says, "Do you like Brock Lesnar as a wrestler?" Yes, I do, actually, because when I watch him do shit in the ring, it looks violent. It doesn't look padded. It looks like he's bringing the full force to it, which brings another level of realism and athleticism to it. So yeah, I do like Brock Lesnar. I think his latest match with Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam was quite phenomenal. I think that was a really good match. Like, they brought the best out of each other, and that was one of the better Brock Lesnar matches in many years. Also, one thing I'm going to tell you guys, if I wasn't talking about movies on YouTube, I'd probably have one of those wrestling review channels. And that's a big thing on YouTube now, which is like, oh my God, that kind of excites me. That's actually what I watch on YouTube. I'm not watching YouTube channels about movies. I'm watching YouTube channels about wrestling pay-per-views. My nose itches. Okay. Skylar Wheelock says, "Randy Orton is going to take on Roman at the Rumble. We can just get a clean finish for this match. I'm sick of the rough distraction, low blow spear again." That's how you continue this shit until WrestleMania, where Cody Rhodes can finish the story, man. But I'm hoping it's a clean finish too. Like, if Randy just loses because, okay, I can live with that. And then they can always have a rematch or something after he loses the title. I don't know. Something like that. We're talking about wrestling now. All right. But movies and wrestling, it's all storytelling, right? So it's the same thing. The next one comes from a Splice of Pie, who says, "Have you seen One Piece on Netflix? It's a great show, even if you're not into anime. Even the drinker praised on how good the show is." I think I've heard about that, or someone mentioned that previously. I have not seen it. So I've heard about it. I have not seen it. Shut Up Cat Production says, I hope I didn't weird you out on X. Congrats on engagement. Well, thanks, Shut Up Cat Productions. How's it going, man? Night King of One says, "I'm having a thought here about wrestling. Do you think all the steroids are helping us bring back the Attitude Era, where these wrestlers are massive dudes were just destroying each other covered in baby oil?" Well, I think you just mostly described what I always imagine what a real wrestler would look like. Nowadays, they just look like dudes who would work out in Planet Fitness wearing t-shirts. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? I want to see men grab each other violently. Yeah, Randy Orton coming back, man. He looked jacked up on that human growth hormone, and I loved it. So good for him. If he got a prescription for it, I support it. And that's what I like. You know, that's the look I prefer. Skylar Wheelock says, did I read this? I read that. Okay, here we go. Rabber Rock says, "What's a genre or subgenre you wish you would have a resurgence?" Mine is ninja movies. Rush Hour 3, Three Ninjas, Beverly Hills Ninja, courtroom dramas, A Few Good Men, A Time to Kill. Yeah, you know, what's a genre? I think we can all agree the superhero genre needs something new added to it. Or it needs to go back to, if you go back to, first of all, let me wrap up that thought with this. if you started making superhero movies like you made with The Dark Knight Rises, where it felt like a real movie with a culmination of 5 different genres in one, where you wouldn't just go comic book movie, but you would say drama, action, thriller, those would also describe it. I think if we go back to something like that, comic book movies will be okay. Going back to yours, a genre that I would like to see more of, dark thrillers. I would like to see more dark thrillers hit cinemas. Something like Silence of the Lambs, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, things like that. That's kind of my favorite type of movie. You have a little mystery in there, a little suspense, but you have these like sociopathic characters. More of that, please. Marcus says, thoughts on Dredd, such a great film. Yeah, Carl Urban's Dredd was good, man. Hey, rookie, that's 2 points. Good stuff. All right, the next one comes from, and by the way, guys, if you have any questions or anything, get those in now. I'm probably going to keep doing the live show until those questions run out. I plan on doing about an hour tonight, so I think we're at an hour and 16 minutes, so we'll aim for an hour and a half live show tonight. So, all right, the next one comes from Pokemon Lover 92. Do you like Pokemon? Were you born in 1992? Just 2 assumptions I'm going to make about you. Good to see you back again, John. Please go out and watch Dream Scenario starring Nicolas Cage. He plays a dweeby professor who suddenly starts appearing in everyone's dream. Super hilarious and a weird movie. Oh, and it's on A24 Film. It's an A24 film. What is this called? Dream Scenario? Is this a made-up movie? What is happening? This sounds like a made-up movie. Oh my God. When did this come out? Okay, it just came out in November. Yeah, I'm watching this. Okay, sold, done. Let me write. This gets noted down. That's how important this is to me. Dream Scenario. Okay, I will watch that. Thinking on it now, I think I knew that existed at some point, but. Okay, I'm glad. I also want to see the new Iron Fist movie, which comes out December 23rd or something. The Zac Efron wrestling movie, since we're talking about wrestling so much tonight. Yeah. Did I just say Iron Fist? What is the Zac Efron movie called? Zac. Or is there another Iron Fist? Iron Claw. I'm sorry for that, guys. When I misspeak after talking for an hour and 25 minutes, I will punish myself right here for your entertainment. Never misspeak again, Jonathan. How dare you? I'm sorry. I didn't have IMDb open and I was just reading off all the facts. I'm sorry. Okay. What's the next question here? Iron Claw is the movie I want to see, not Iron Fist. Oh, also, we talked about genres that we want to bring back. Night King 01 says, historical epics need to come back. Good ones, not Napoleon. I haven't seen Napoleon yet, which makes me really sad. That wasn't what or at least what I was hoping it would be. But keep in mind, I haven't seen it yet. But the fact that some people that I feel like love most movies are saying that shit, that makes me sad. But I'll watch the director's cut at some point. Night King 01 also says, yeah, something about that trailer was weird. What trailer are we talking about? Oh, the Mad Max or Furiosa trailer. Yeah, it felt off. Harmonical Vengeance? My eye itches. Hang on. Says, hey, John, what are your thoughts on current wokeness / political propaganda in cinema? Will it get worse or is it on the way out? I think what will happen once studios have done everything they can to appease the 0.1% of a niche audience of people who won't pay to see the products that they're making anyway, but will complain on what we now call X or Twitter or whatever. I think once they realize that there's no money in that, like, if we make these bad movies that are watered down and no one sees them, maybe we're a business. Maybe we can't do those as often anymore. So I'm hoping that it corrects itself to some degree. And there's nothing wrong with like being inclusive in your movie. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But what there is when you deviate from what makes the story better And if you include things that distract from what would make a great story and it doesn't add to it, then to me, that's wrong. I think from an artistic standpoint, that is wrong. That is bastardizing art, and I don't believe in that. So if you want to bastardize art, that's fine, okay? Go live in a communist country, all right? What are we talking about? I don't know. I'm a fucking dude wearing a cat shirt right now, talking about movies in his underwear. What do I know? All right, the next one comes from John Michael, who says, are you looking forward to Superman Legacy? Without Henry Cavill, I don't think I can bring myself to give it a fair chance. Henry Cavill is the GOAT. Yeah, I get it, man. Like, if you could DH Henry Cavill by like 15 years or whatever and just give that younger version of whatever James Gunn's looking for his Superman, I think it's hard to top him as a Superman and a Clark Kent. Like, this new guy, he looks the part, but I'm just going to be thinking when he's dressed up like Superman, fuck, Henry Cavill is way more badass than him. I just bought into him. And this new guy, yeah, he looks fine, but it just feels less than. And also when it comes to like a new Superman movie, I just feel like that's the one character we could have given a break to for a couple minutes and then went back to him. So I don't know. Am I looking forward to it? Yeah. I'm hoping James Gunn brings something new that we haven't seen in a while. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm done with Superman for a minute, man. Now, can you give me a new Batman movie every 6 months? That'd be great. I'd watch that. Night King of One says, laugh aloud. Everyone's talking about how great Dream Scenario is, and Nick Cage needs is amazing, yet John has not heard of it. Yeah, I think I remember hearing about a Nick Cage movie months ago from A24, but I'm to a point now where I don't really listen to much movie hype, and I just go watch the movie. Like, that's where I'm at in life. Don't get me wrong. I'm very excited about movies coming out, but I just really don't take a lot of notice until it gets closer to the release date, because I just feel like I've gotten to a point where it's all about hype and the payoff is always underwhelming. And that's where cinema's kind of at. You guys remember back in the day on YouTube, back in like 2010 to 2000, even like, I would push it to 2016, that when there was speculation and hype surrounding movies, it was exciting. It was fun to talk about. And then the movies came out, and more times than not, you'd be like, oh, that's kind of what I wanted to see. And then we talk about the movie once it came out. Now we talk about the movie before it comes out. The movie comes out a day later, no one talks about it. Dead. Didn't exist. You want to know why? Because that movie made you feel nothing. That's why. You wanted to. We all wanted to. But it made us feel nothing. All right, let's go to the next question here. Mike Peter says, John, I missed the last live show. Congrats on the engagement. Well, thanks, man. Thoughts on Gladiator 2? Well, with Ridley Scott directing shit like, I guess, Napoleon, and it's underwhelming. It's like, it's epic kind of, but the story sucks. That's my fear with Gladiator 2. He'll try to make it epic. It'll look okay in the trailer, but then you watch it and you're just like, oh. But you know what? I'm excited for it nevertheless. That's where I'm at, but I'm not going to get too excited. I want to be excited, but I'm not. Also, glad you're back. Your voice gets me through my day at work. Well, thank you for that, man. And your questions get me through my miserable existence in life. No, I'm kidding. Thank you, guys. All right, just one or two more questions here. Claudia Rogajon says, do you not like Superman? Doesn't seem like it. What do you want me to do? Suck his cock right here on camera? I love it. Here's a little kryptonite. I don't know, man. Yeah, I like Superman. I like Man of Steel. I think Superman, generally speaking, I just feel like we have done everything we can on the big screen for a while. And anything else is, I guess, I'll say this. I think the best version of the Superman movie that you could ever make isn't necessarily a movie I want to see right now. Like, oh, that's the perfect Superman movie. Cool. But wouldn't you rather see something else? You know, like, just go watch Man of Steel if you want a Superman movie. And maybe you want something a little more less gritty. Really, I just want to see Lex Luthor put on his giant mech suit. Can we just get that finally? Like, out of all the shit Zack Snyder did, I'm so surprised Jesse Eisenberg didn't have a giant mech suit. That really surprises me. So yes, I like Superman. Is he my favorite character? No. Do I think he's way too fucking overpowered? Absolutely. Does it make me not care about him much as a character at times when he's in a situation of peril and doom? Yes, because I know he's Superman. He'll be okay. So I like Superman, but I like Henry Cavill more. Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Yes. Oh, man. Nuclear Man. Now, that's a character we need more of. He needs a spin-off movie. That's what they should be making. Nuclear Man. Could you imagine that? Starring Ryan Reynolds with a shitty bleach blonde wig. And it's just like the most over-the-top asshole villain of all time. That in itself could be a really interesting take on the comic book genre. If you want to make a comedy movie. I'd actually rather have Ryan Gosling play Nuclear Man. I'm just putting it out there. All right. The next question comes from just a few more questions, guys, and then I got to go. We got a few more minutes left. Mickey C says, how can a producer ever think Madame Web movie would be what people want to see? At least Sony is consistent with shit. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, they made a Morbius movie, and I think like 3 days into production, you could have just went, yeah, I don't think this is going to do so well. And then now they're making Madame Web. It baffles me. I think Madame Web, like, why don't they make these, does Sony have a streaming service, or do they own a streaming service? I'm sure they do, right? They got to own some kind of ownership. Madame Web should be like a comic book series on a streaming service. That's kind of what I think that could be. The next one comes from Michael, who says, I saw Saltburn the other day. The girls never come. The girls never come. Interesting. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm intrigued. Claudio Rogajon, I had some theories just based on the trailer, but Claudio Rogajon says, it just seems like you like Nolan's influence on Man of Steel. Same goes for Nolan's Batman. Doesn't seem like you like the actual comic book versions. I don't know. I mean, I guess we're talking about tone, and sometimes I prefer a more serious tone. Yeah, but I like the general story. I think it's intriguing. Yeah, Superman's cool, man. He's fucking super. I love him. His fucking red underwear, man. Just take those off. I love him. Travis Childers. Is it Childers? Childers. It's Childers. Hey, man. I've been watching your show since 2014. Your videos really helped me get through high school. Just wanted to thank you for 10 years later. Well, thanks, Travis. Thanks for that, man. And I'm glad you got through high school. What a miserable time that was. I still have dreams that I'm stuck in high school and I can't pass like one of my final exams. And it just like, I wake up sweating going, oh my God, those 4 years were so awful. They're making Venom 3. Yay. Anyway. Venom 3. All right, the next one comes from John, sitting here smoking my pen, watching Transformers Age of Extinction the last night and Kong Sky Island, and you and Stuckman's reviews of those films while eating Panda Express. Holy shit, man. You sound like a great guy, man. I love it. Thanks for watching those old-ass reviews. You know, sometimes there's a movie I watch, and I go, oh my God, I reviewed this. And then I go back and watch my review, and I go, oh my God. And I wish I could redo this. All right, the next one comes from one more question here. Joey Ruiz, Lord of the Rings, says, how was DiCaprio in Killer of the Flower Moon? He was good DiCaprio. I liked him. He played his part fine. He was a one-note dude. It was just, the character was just who he was. He was basically a supporting character that was trying to be made the main character. And then for all the other Native Americans in the film that were getting killed off, I didn't feel like they had a main character, and if they did, it wasn't truly executed to the point where it's like I wanted to feel as much as I thought I should. But Leo was fine. It just felt like the Scorsese streaming service movie. That's how it felt to me. And I know some people will call it a masterpiece, and that's great, but I don't know. I would love to rewatch it again and see if I can solidify these thoughts. And I think I would, but and the next one, okay, one more question. Okay, here we go. Claudio Rogajon with his 87th question of the night, and it's a good one. I'm just saying, you like Batman, but you hate weird supernatural elements, which is like half his villains and lore. Do you just not like comic booky superhero stories? I like characters where they can lose a fight because I relate to that. I think there's more at risk. And with Superman, he can just do everything. So I think when you have a guy who can just do everything and it's pretty hard to lose, it's hard to get emotionally invested. So yeah, I like gadgets. I like grounded characters. I like superheroes that have a sort of a grounded tone to them. Like even in Captain America, right? He took some super soldier serum, but he's a dude. He's a strong dude. He's a fast dude. He's pretty agile. And the aerodynamics of that shield just do not make any sense. But at the same time, he's like a dude. Like Iron Man. He's a dude underneath that armor, you know? So I guess I just prefer characters that have vulnerability to them. Yeah, absolutely. And Claudio, you don't have to keep giving me super chats to have a debate with me. Don't. It's good. We could both agree. I like Superman. Okay, if Henry Cavill wanted to just wear red underwear and embrace me to his bosom, I will be there. Okay, whatever he wants. All right, the next one comes from Night King 01. DiCaprio looks permanently drunk in that film. Well, he was supposed to be. He was just a drunk. But then again, DiCaprio kind of looks like that half the time you see him somewhere, doesn't he? All right, I think I'm going to wrap up the live show there, guys. As always, I want to say thanks for looking at my stupid face for another hour and a half. Thank you guys for just coming here, hanging out. And I told you guys, the live streams I will keep doing on a weekly basis. I forgot how much I enjoy these. It's therapeutic, it's cathartic, and it's a good fucking time, if nothing else. And I get to talk about everything rather than just one thing. So, John, do you ever get tired of being handsome? I'm not. This is all camera. I got a CG team working on me right now, man. So, as always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for the questions. I'll see you on the next live show. Leave your thoughts, your opinions down below. And before you go, just stick it to the man known as YouTube and give this video a like. It helps the YouTube algorithm go, oh, this is what they want to watch. Even though they're subscribed to him and they comment and they watch all his shit, we just won't put this in your sub box. I don't know. So yeah. So give the video a like. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks James Doshier. Thanks to all the YouTube members here. I'm scrolling up to see if there was anybody else. I don't see anyone. Farrell Lovely was in here earlier, so thank all you guys. Michael Flores. Hey, John, just want to let you know, man, you're the best YouTuber and awesome friend. It's cool. I can say you're awesome, an awesome friend, and it's not weird. Absolutely, Michael. You can say that. You can call me your special uncle. You know, whatever you want to call me. Don't call me that, please. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll see you next time.